All right. I think it's happening. Is it happening? That video happening? No? I guess we wait for something to happen. Oh, here it comes. There it is. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Houston. We have nothing but problems. Constantly, all day, every day, nonstop, like a Luftwaffe bombing run. Just keeps on coming and coming and coming and coming, and here we are, another day. Woo! So, it appears Trump won the election somehow, defying every poll and all odds and everything else that seemed to be out there. But hey, that's the future we got. So. Buckle up, bitches, because we are effed in the A. That's for sure. So, but hey, at least GME looks like it's going to make a little November run here. They will get ourselves some option plays. Each week's been building up, and we're pushing a little more on the money each week, getting a little bit of gamma, and coming into the November swaps. Hey. You know, if it gets me enough that I can go spend a couple years on a quiet beach, then hey, there you go. That's all you know. That's all you need from anything. So I'm sure you guys have lots in your mind. I was gonna do a show Wednesday, like a cathartic show of some kind, cattail karaoke. And then my mom's like, let's play some cards. So I played cards with my mom. So if your mom asks you to play cards or put together a jigsaw puzzle or go for a walk or whatever, you make sure you do that. So it's more important than any little silly show I could do, right, little cat? Yeah? Okay. You know what I'm going to do? Oh! Before I go anywhere, before I do anything, speaking of intros, Scott, the maker of our original intro and our original nighttime intro, After Dark intro, wants to do a Google Earth intro. And so go to, I'm going to put no, don't go right there. In the chat here is the subreddit link. Go there, put in all the coordinates you've sent me over the years. Scott will look at it and he'll make a little Google Earth zoom in videos. Make sure you label if it's going to be like a street view, so he knows to go to street view to get whatever goofy thing, you know, two people on bicycles hitting each other, naked people, whatever. Hi, buddy. Hi. And so Scott can make that new intro. Yeah. So at least we get something nice out of everything, right? It's a new Scott intro, right, buddy? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. And now that's done. Let's go to a Scott intro. Blam. Okay. All right. Lay it on me. What do we got? I'm not sure how excited anything's going to be from this point forward. Might be a melancholy zone. At least we got just the happiest little kid in the entire world. Yes, you are. You're just a purr machine. Low B was first. Kelly Reed was second. Dead. Well, hi. Hi. Yes, you want to get inside my face. Okay, we'll just hold you up here as long as I can. You ain't first. You're last. Fabrizio's plopping. GDC is fifth. Bill Coins, sigh, last. Before the stupid. Well, things are effed. But as a silver lining, the safari for leopards eating people's faces will have some excellent views. The things I've read in the last couple of days, if I make it to January 20th, it'll be a wonder because I'm probably going to facepalm myself to death. I'm reading like people that who were DACA, like dreamers, you know, they were brought here as children. They were given a path to residency, and some of them have even made citizenship. Did not realize that Trump was going to deport their parents. They're like, "What? I didn't know that." What about the mass deportations now? Did you not understand? Not only that, but Trump is going to strip you of your citizenship. We went over that tweet from Stephen Miller from last year saying they're going to what was it? Accelerate steroids, Thunderstrike. They're going to expand the Office of Denaturalization to basically strip every immigrant who has gotten citizenship of their citizenship. It's just, people have just started like looking up what Project 2025 is, and all summer long, folks are saying, "Hey, Donald Trump is going to enact Project 2025." Donald Trump's like, "Oh, I have nothing to do with this," lying through his teeth. And now that he's won the election, all the Trumpers were like, "We were going to do it all along, you idiots." And there we go. And we have a whole bunch of like little Gen Z troll douchebags tweeting out that they're going to start raping women and your body, my choice and stuff. It's going to get ugly because we are in mask off territory again, and I think it's going to be bigger than it was in 2016 when we had white nationalists holding little conventions in D.C. doing their Sieg Heils and celebrating. Like, the amount of dread coursing through me right now because I just know they're going to do everything they possibly can. They're going to they're accelerationists, meaning they want to burn everything to the ground because they want to build something new in its place. And I get the urge, like, oh, the system sucks. Let's tear it all down and build something new. The problem is that every society that has tried tearing it down and building something new has just resulted in places like Russia. Russia was accelerationist after the fall of communism. Gorbachev and others had introduced baby steps, freedom of speech, bringing in, international business, blah, blah, blah. And people are like, no, let's just tear it all down. But who came out on top? The mafia. The oligarchs sold off everything, sold out their people. And those guys, those now FSB and former KGB people, they're fine. They're doing great. They got their yachts and their supermodels and, their little mafia networks. Everyone else, if they couldn't afford to leave the country, they're doomed. There's a 3-week lifespan for a conscript in Russia right now. 3 weeks. So if you get conscripted, there's a 100% chance you're dying, and at most your life is going to last around 3 weeks. So, that's the future for the Russian people, and we're trying to build that here. ¿Por qué? Like, why? Why would we do that? Like, if we're going to tear it down, the folks that are going to come back from that, or build it all up, those are not the people we want to trust to build this system. We talked about Curtis Yarvin, the guru to folks like Peter Thiel and J.D. Vance. And you ditch me now? Cool. And he wants a monarchy. Not just any monarchy, but a monarchy made up of tech oligarchs. So all these Bitcoin douche bros are going to redesign society for us. The people, they keep saying they're going to revolutionize public transportation and keep reinventing the bus over and over. Every time they reinvent the bus, like, we got something new, and it's a bus. And they're like, oh, we don't like buses. We don't want people to want to associate with other people. And so they try to figure out ways to make the bus innovative and new, and then just create the bus again. Like, these are the people who are going to rebuild society. These folks. The ones that consult AI for everything, that haven't read a book in 30 years, they're going to rebuild society in some sort of weird libertarian image for us, and that's what to look forward to. Elon told us they're going to destroy the economy. They're going to rip it apart, and it's going to suck for you for a while. He'll be fine. He'll have little robots and flying cars and shit. But you are going to be mud people. And your schools are going to fall apart. Your roads are going to fall apart. Your homes are going to fall apart. You're going to be crawling around looking for food scraps. But, if you just wait that out for a while, then everything's going to be A-okay. Just like Argentina. They're tearing everything down, and now they have the highest rates of poverty and food insecurity in their history. Yeah, cool. Bring that on. I love, living in cold and not knowing where my next meal is going to come from. That's just going to be fantastic for everybody involved. I'm just going to deport all the folks who grow our food, and then, but then you and I can go work the fields, because that's the best way for everyone to spend their time is, instead of, creating value for the economy with our educations, we're going to go pick apples or something, and just in the hopes that we get just a morsel that we can have at the end of the day. That's our future, and we get to look forward to it. So kudos. Welcome, everybody. We're in the find out stage, and everyone in America seems to have to touch the hot stove to know it's hot. Oh man, it's gonna be a depressing show. Just okay. We got a couple super chats in here, so might as well read those. Jika Shukla, I think we are overestimating how competent these people will be. Oh, the incompetence will be profound. The problem is that incompetence begets tragedy. Think back to 2000. You have the transfer of power between the Clinton administration and the Bush administration. And Bill Clinton sits down with George W. Bush and explains to him, the greatest threat you are going to face in the coming years is going to come from bin Laden and Al Qaeda. And you have to be vigilant, because those guys are probing, they're finding our weaknesses, and they're going to do something evil. And it's going to kill a lot of people and disrupt this entire nation. And George Bush's like, hey, yeah, whatever, bro. And August 6th of that year comes along, gets a memo saying bin Laden determined to strike in the U.S. And he's like, fuck it, I'm going to go cut some mesquite. And guess what happens? 9/11 completely uproots the entire American system. We used to be able to go into the airport and greet our loved ones in the terminal. Can't do that anymore. Can't even take our shoes off, wait in gigantic security lines. Here in my community, the ferry, very simple system. Boat comes in, all the passengers walk off. The minute the last passenger walked off, everyone else walked on, boat took off. It was a really quick, efficient system. But now, everyone gets off the ferry. You have to wait for all the cars to drive off the ferry. Then they got to do a security sweep of the entire boat to make sure that some, Islamist hasn't planted a bomb somewhere, because blowing up a ferry is exactly what's going to scare middle America. And now it's impossible for the boats to run on time, because it takes an extra 15 minutes per loading and unloading for them to do their security sweeps. So we stand there and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait, and then finally go, burp, okay, everybody can walk on now. Then we walk on. Whereas the boat would be gone by now. But no, because the incompetence of a dipshit uprooted the convenience of America, and now I have to spend trillions of dollars on what is basically a security apparatus that like is there for show. Doesn't actually provide the security. It's just for show. Like, the ferry boat rides along, and there's a Coast Guard boat with a guy with a 50 cal machine gun bouncing up and down next to the boat. What's the guy with the machine gun there for? Is like someone plants a bomb, drives onto the ferry with a car bomb and blows it up? Are they just going to shoot the survivors? Like, no, it's just for show. That's all it is. It's a facade. It's a vaudeville act. It's painting over the rust. And then you flash forward to the Trump administration, and you have a security apparatus. The National Security Council sits down with the incoming council. Is like, hey, SARS during the Bush years, MERS, Ebola during the Obama years, we know that there's a novel virus that will come and get us at some point, and we need to be vigilant and prepared for it. So we've got this, pandemic response team that still sit on the National Security Council, and their job is, if a pandemic hits, we just open this binder and we start going through all these things. We've been working on this for decades, and we think we have it nailed, right? And 2018 comes along, like, fuck it, fire them. We don't have any pandemics going on right now. What do we need this for, right? And then a year later, Trump finds out about the USAID rapid response teams, who are out there all stationed all over the world to clamp down on outbreaks. Fires them too. 3 weeks later, COVID. So, the competence, like, they might not be competent to enact their fascist ideals and their theocratic state and everything. I'm not so confident, because I think they're going to have the houses and the courts, and they're going to get through a lot of evil stuff. But their incompetence alone will result in millions of death, trillions of dollars in lost value. They're going to get rid of the safety net. They're going to obliterate Medicare and Social Security. And, we'll be lucky if we can eat cat food at that point. Because the economy is going to blow up and there's going to be no safety nets involved. Everyone's going to get foreclosed on. And you will own nothing and you'll be happy. Like the people who think WEF, Schwab at WEF, so you will own nothing and you'll be happy, just voted for the people who will guarantee you will own nothing and you will be happy. They're accelerationists. They're going to blow the entire system up. They're going to create essentially a feudal system where you're just a little pissant peasant in a serfdom, and you're going to work for your overlords until you die, and that'll be your life. Just, that'll be it. We're going to remember those pictures from World War II, right? And you see a boat full of soldiers motoring into land at Normandy. You look at their faces and you see a boat full of men in their 40s, right? They're not. They're 19 years old. That's what our children are going to look like. They're going to age so quickly and so horribly based on all of this that the youthful exuberance of a man who's in his mid-40s looking like this will be a thing of the past. Unless you are a billionaire and you got your blood boy child that you can do your blood swaps with and everything and then Botox yourself to death. But that's what we're looking forward to. So, there's going to be incompetence. But that incompetence seems to have its own horrible consequences. Sorry, Jigish. I'm not a very optimistic guy today. We're obtaining oneness. Super chats. Campaigning with the Campaigning with the Chinese war criminals and scumbag Mark Cuban was a grave mistake. Absolutely killed the Dem base and working class solidarity. Oh, I agree with that too. Is that they're making their best grounds when they let Walls go out there and just talk about how fucking weird they were. Just he had super duper high positive approval ratings. Every time he opened his mouth, people were like, "Oh, I like that guy. You got to run with that." They should have been hitting him hard because they were doing that in July. They're doing that in August, and then sometime in September, they're like, "Ooh, we need to pull back and invite a bunch of people who don't agree with us in." The Democrats do that every time, and every time they do it, they lose. You cannot appeal to the side you fundamentally disagree with. Dick Cheney had a 16% approval rating when he left office. He is one of the most hated men in American history. Just because Trump hates Cheney's daughter, Dick Cheney was like, "I support Kamala Harris." Kamala should be like, "Cool. Anyway, moving on," right? That's all you have to do. You have to go, you just thank them for their support, and if they say, "Hey, can I campaign with you?" You go, "No, but thank you." I'm going to, like Democrats need to learn that you can lie to people. They haven't figured that out yet. Obama kind of figured it out. He campaigned all sorts of leftist things and then enacted almost none of them. But the Republicans will lie to your face. They'll tell you, "We have nothing to do with Project 2025. What are you talking about? That's just some fringe group," right? They will lie to your face, and then you go, "Oh, okay, I will believe them." And they go, "Psych, ha, sucker," right? Democrats should at least try that if they want to win. I mean, that sounds kind of cynical and awful, but offer the people things they want, right? Offer them to get rid of student debt. Offer them public health care. Offer them, worker rights and environmental rights and to do something about climate change. Don't just be like, "Well, we're not actually going to do anything about health care. Vote for us anyway." We all know the status quo is better than what's going to be coming. But we can accept the status quo if there's a chance you might actually do something to make things better, right? And I think you're right, Tenny Oneness. Abandoning the Dem base, which wants simple things. They want health care for everybody, and they want everyone to stop going bankrupt to go see the doctor. I read an insane article the other day where a cyclist gets smoked by an ambulance, right? And the ambulance crew jumps out. They help the guy. They put him in the ambulance. They race him to the hospital, and they charge him $1,800 for the ambulance ride. This is the America that we're in. Just simple, stupid things where people, they're dying of a heart attack, they've been hit by a car, they've been shot, and they will beg for an Uber or a taxi to the hospital rather than an ambulance because they can't afford the ambulance ride. There are things we can so easily improve in this country that we just don't. And you can campaign on those things. There isn't a single person in this country who has not been adversely affected by our shitty private insurance system. There's not one. Rich, poor, middle class, everyone has been boned by insurance at some point. Badmouth the insurance. Tell them to go suck it. They go, oh, I'm going to pay a bunch of money for your opponent. But you know what? You can make up for that because there's one insurance company paying $1 million to that campaign, or you can get 1 million people all paying $30 to your campaign because they're like, yeah, suck it, insurance company. Right? That's what Bernie Sanders learned. Even Kamala was just raking it in small donations. And you don't need the big corporate ones. Campaign on getting rid of Citizen United. Getting rid of all these stupid super PACs. So we don't have, unmitigated giant spending sprees by corporations and individuals with dark money. Just get rid of it. Campaign on getting rid of it. Making an amendment to the companies are no longer citizens, as the courts have determined. You can do that stuff. Attending Oneness also super chats. These Washington and Colorado pointed the way forward. The only two states that voted further left than 2020. Ta-da! It's because of all the weed, I think. The weed microbreweries. That's probably the entirety of it. And it's anyone in super chats again. After the election, I immediately got V for Vendetta movie entered my brain as what could very well be our timeline, and cop cities are coming too. Yeah. So that's they're going to try really hard for police state. They are. I mean, the apparatus that's going to be needed to deport 1 million people a year is going to be gigantic. It's going to be an infrastructure unto its own. I know they're saying like, oh, we'll take people from the ATF and the DEA, but you still need those people to do their actual jobs, right? And if you take your eye off the ball on those things, then cartels get in, and you're going to be hiring a whole bunch of brown shirts to do this work, and they aren't going to be trained for it. And once they get the apparatus up and running, they're going to use private prison companies to build the camps and all that stuff. Once you get the apparatus up and running, you can't get rid of it. They become government contractors, and they're going to start lobbying the government to keep it going. So you get rid of all of the immigrants, you're going to be looking for other people to put in there because they're going to need their $150 a day per prisoner. Otherwise, their companies are toast. Their shareholders will be upset. So they're going to start stripping people of their citizenships and then putting them in there. And when they run out of those, they're going to be looking for dissidents. They're going to be looking for anyone who told them to go suck it, right? They're going to be it'll be a non-stop operation in perpetuity until something violent arises from it. And then you get your V for Vendetta. You guys remember in V for Vendetta, England is in this totalitarian state, and then there's like news flashes about the ongoing civil war in the United States. It's this not too distant future. That's kind of, we'll probably be looking at balkanization of the United States if it starts to come down to that, because Washington, Oregon, California aren't going to put up with it, and if they go, this is irredeemable, it's unfixable, we're going Cascadia, right? This government's like, you can't do that, and we're gonna go, yeah, but we control like 2,000 nuclear warheads at Bangor alone, so what are you gonna do about it? That's what it will come down to. And I don't want that to happen. I would much rather have some semblance of the status quo remain than the inevitable awfulness that will be our future coming here. It's gonna be a rough one indeed. Low B says Ross is here. Oh, hey Ross, welcome. Yeah, but yeah, Ross is a Seattle guy. He knows what I'm talking about. Jimmy D Super Chats, $1.99. Okay, thank you, Jimmy D. Entertaining Oneness. These are already stories of people. There are already stories of people learning about tariffs, not getting Christmas bonuses this year. And white Trump voters calling ICE on neighbors. Yeah. I read about it was a factory in Tennessee or Kentucky where they had an all hands meeting, and the boss is like, hey guys, no Christmas bonuses this year. We have to buy an entire year of materials before January 20th, and it's going to cost us a fortune because after that there's going to be 60% tariffs. And all the employees are like, but we don't understand. And the boss trying to explain to them that their costs are going to go up 60% across the board for their raw materials because they get all their raw materials from overseas to build whatever widgets they build. And the employees were like super upset because that's not what they voted for. Yeah, bitch, it is. That's what tariffs do. Tariffs are not like, some company in China is selling, I don't know, aluminum ingots or something, right? And they sell them by the cajillions, and they ship them all over the world. And we go, we're putting tariffs on Chinese goods, 60% or 100% or whatever it is. And the Chinese company goes, aw, shit. I guess I gotta pay the United States government 60% of what I sell these things for in order to export them. That's not what happens. They sell those ingots for the exact same price they've always sold them for. And then the person who bought those ingots upon receipt at the customs pays 60% more on the value of them. So if you buy the ingot for $1, you are paying $1.60 because you have to pay 60 cents to the U.S. Customs Department. And that's how it works. So that means, that ingot when it enters the United States and does work, whatever it goes into will increase the cost of the widget that gets made into. The aluminum siding on the house, the bicycle frame, the gear shifter on your Chrysler. So everything is going to go up. Everything. And then, you're going to call ICE on your neighbors. And then 90% of the workforce in agriculture disappears. And then what happens? You get what happened in Florida when DeSantis kicked everyone out. The farmers have all their crops rot in the fields. And if you want a house cleaner, seriously, go look it up. House cleaners in Florida, housekeepers, are making $150,000 to $250,000 a year because there are so few of them left. The rest of them are gone. They checked out, like, peace, Florida, I'm out of here. And so if you want somebody to help come clean your house, you're gonna be paying them $150,000 a year or more. There you go. You want to talk about inflation? That's inflation, right? The system in the United States is very exploitative. Like we will bring people into this country and make them do a whole bunch of menial shit that the rest of us aren't willing to do. We'll make them raise our kids. We'll make them pick our lettuce. We'll make them clean our houses. We'll make them build our houses and do our roofing, right? And clean our ditches, do our landscaping. We'll make them do all that stuff, regardless of like qualification levels for a lot of them. That old joke about taxi cab drivers being like, I was doctor in my country. Yeah, we are super exploitative of the immigrant class that comes in. Why? Because we've designed our economy to be so dependent upon that. But the opportunities those immigrants have for their children, right? Their children grow up speaking English as a first language. They go to public school. They can go off to college and university, and they can build something out of that immigrant experience that their parents suffered for. And then they're Americans, and then they can look down on like, I'm not going to clean my house. I'm going to pay Consuela to do it for me, right? So that's just the way our system works. And so yeah, we're going to blow up that system. We are going to not just blow up that system, but we're going to make it impossible to have economic growth. Economic growth requires population growth. And we do not have kids at a rate that allows us to replenish our population, which is why we welcome in so many immigrants every year. We're down to, I think women have 0.78 children in their lifetime now. Just 40 years ago, it was like 6. And now we're down to 0.78 in the United States. So we're not going to replace our population, which means, the housing will get a lot cheaper because a lot of it's going to be abandoned. So, right? Oh, you have a choice of houses, but then you won't have any industry or viable businesses. Restaurants will fail, right? Toy shops will fail. Communities become ghost towns entirely. Factories will shut down because you won't have a consumer class available to replace these things. You'll be looking like rural Japan. Yeah, you got a giant city in Tokyo, a couple other giant cities, but rural Japan is ghost town after ghost town after ghost town right now. And yeah, it's gonna be a really, really interesting future that we got ourselves into here. And I don't know what the solution is going to be. Honestly, I don't. I think the next 4 years are going to be so god awful, especially if they put RFK in charge of health, because all of a sudden people won't be getting their vaccines. We won't be doing any studies on viruses or epidemiology, and we got bird flu coming. Bird flu is going to become human to human transmissible in a very relatively short time. And when that happens, we are not going to have the infrastructure in place to deal with any of it. And bird flu kills at like 30%. So COVID, unmitigated COVID was like 3% deaths. And that still managed to kill about 1 in every 250 Americans overall. That's even with the vaccines and everything. So in that 4-year span since COVID came about, 1 in 250 Americans died from COVID. Now I'll be looking at 1 in 3, 1 in 4, if bird flu comes about, and we'll have that friggin' former junkie, Hep C filled, brain-wormed, steroid-using goofus who sounds like a spoon in the garbage disposal. Be like, we're gonna get rid of all the vaccines, and we just eat healthy, you won't be able to defeat anything. Fuck you, you stupid fucking piece of shit. My God, your entire family hates your guts for a reason, my man. Just curl up and die in a ditch somewhere and make us happy. Be the first candidate death where people will be like, cool, all right. Every other one, everyone's like, oh, it's a tragedy. No, just get the fuck out of here. Jesus Christ. What a useless human being that guy has turned out to be. And he's the grip he has on people blows my mind. Like, you can't listen to him talk. So just even like from an aesthetic point of view, trying to listen to him spit out an idea is hard enough as it is. You might as well just jam a Q-tip all the way in there and, I don't know, give yourself a sideways lobotomy. But now you have to sit here and listen to that guy give some sort of press conference about how he's going to, I don't know, replace vaccines with goat spit or something. And as we're going to be facing what is probably the gnarliest flu epidemic humanity has ever faced. Like, we've been hearing about bird flu for about 15 years now. Because, we know that these viruses, they incubate in a population of animals, and then eventually they jump to another animal where that evolution can continue, and then it gets a gain of function, and then boom, it's in humans. That's just how every single solitary virus in existence has gotten into our system. Is that it came from something else. It came from bats, cows, horses, pigs, chickens, whatever. And we have thousands of years of this as examples. Have you ever heard of the horse people? The horse people are among the first civilized societies. They weren't doing agriculture in the form of like, let's go, hoe a field and plant some wheat or whatever. They were cultivating horses on like the Asian steppe, Mongolia, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, out there. And these folks discovered the bit, put a bit in a horse's mouth, and they hate it, and you can make them do whatever you want. And all of a sudden, you've tamed this 1,500-pound animal that not only can you make do work for you, fantastic, you can travel on it great distances in a quick amount of time, rather than like running or walking. It can carry things for you. It can, and you can milk it and you can eat it. Fantastic! It's like a one-stop shop. We have evidence of like Cro-Magnons, early humans in France, using their running power to chase horses off of cliffs, like sort of like a buffalo jump here in America, and then eating them. But they didn't get into their head like, hey, I can use this thing for other purposes. But the Asian steppe people did this, the horse people. And the horse people, they got exposed to all sorts of viruses from the livestock that they cultivated. and it wiped them out again and again and again and again. But what happened was the few who survived had immunities that none of the rest of the population in the world had. And so these horse people, they'd be out in the steppe in the grasslands of Mongolia, and then once a year they would take their horses in to a city somewhere to sell, right? You can sell the meat, sell the horses, because hey, these Mongolians figured out where this little town will figure it out too. And they'd sell them there. Everyone in that town would get some fucked up virus from the horse people and their horses. And then, but the horse people are there for a day or two, and then they go back out in the steppe and do their thing. And when they come back the next year, the town is empty. Huh. Everybody left. That's weird. I guess we have ourselves a free town. And then they would move in and civilize themselves that way. And then they worked their way across the Asian steppe over 5,000 years, basically just eviscerating in completely innocent germ warfare entire populations across all of the Asian steppe, all the way into Europe, all the way into the Middle East and the Mediterranean. And that is how our society was made. It was germ warfare. And here we are ignoring thousands of years of history. I mean, the pilgrims. The pilgrims were the beneficiaries of misunderstood germ warfare. When they showed up at Plymouth Rock, you know what they found? An empty village. They're like, this village is empty. I guess we can settle here and have ourselves a free village. No. Some previous Europeans made contact, gave everybody in that town the cold, the flu, the smallpox, and they all died. You don't hear about the pilgrims burying a bunch of decomposing bodies before moving into the little huts that were left behind. And that's the story of America, is that we benefited from that germ warfare as well. And here we are, now willingly subjecting ourselves to it because we want to drink raw milk and eat raw meat and not be vaccinated like some sort of pussy who's going to poison the blood. We're going to get everything we deserve. Every little thing we deserve is going to come our way, and it's going to suck so hard. And I'll be in like the camps, and the only thing that'll bring me joy is the schadenfreude, knowing that there's some idiot who voted for this next to me, suffering the exact same stupid fate. That'll be it. That'll be the only like small recourse I get in my heart before I'm put up against the wall and shot. Will be knowing that I'm next to some asshole who was dumb enough to vote for this. And here we are. This is our future. Boom, boom. Yay. My roommate's loving this right now.
I'll come with you.
All right, yeah. Feed me some bread through the chain link fence. Dating oneness. Restaurants are going to suffer. Kitchen work sucks. Kitchen work does suck. And you don't realize how much work you do in a restaurant until you get a job somewhere else. You're like, this is easy. Right? Like my roommate downstairs, he worked in restaurants for years. Years and years and years and years and years. Worked his ass off, sweating, dish pits, on the line cooking, his face melting off, getting burns, working as fast as he possibly can on his feet for 12, 13 hours a day with little to no breaks, right? Gets a job at a grocery store, doing produce. Stack the produce, make it look nice, talk to customers about apples or whatever. And when he gets the job, his coworkers are like, man, this job is really hard. And you hope you can keep up with it. And he's like 2 weeks in, he's like, when does the hard part start? I get regular breaks from the union. Every 2 hours, I go take 15 minutes and just fuck off and stare off into space. I got all the apples I can eat. All I have to do is lift this box and then take the apples and just stack them. And I'm done. And then when it empties, I go do it again. Until then, I got nothing to do. And I still get my 15-minute break. Restaurant work blows. It really does. It is hard work and hot and miserable and very little breaks, if any. And then we in Seattle area we need 50,000 more restaurant workers just in Seattle, just in the Seattle metro area. So population of 3 million or so in the Seattle metro area. We need 50,000 workers just so restaurants can go back to full time like they were pre-COVID. And we still don't have that in here. So regardless of how many, illegal immigrants have come in the U.S., not enough have come in because we do not have the population to replace these folks. So all the restaurants, barely any of them are open as late as they were pre-COVID. Most of them are open either only for lunch or only for dinner because they don't have enough staff to do both, right? Or they've got entire days of the week that are just not open when they're open 7 days a week before. So, we're going to doom ourselves. We're going to basically make it so that small restaurants can't exist, and the only viable model is going to be like chow halls or something. You get your tray and then they slop some goop on there like you're in a cafeteria, because it's only going to be the only economic model that will work. If you want to go out and eat, you're just getting whatever the lady in the hairnet puts on like at lunch in middle school. So, angry as a fist. That's what I am today. Jules Mammy gives us some memberships. I Not Your Friend got one. Kim Fuston got one. Larry Dubs got one. Mr. Lasuna and sometimes Sommelier. Well, you got some regulars in there. We didn't get any lurkers today. The lurkers might be checked out. I don't know. But hey, that's all right. I do want to thank everyone that hung out for the 7-hour long election special. There was I think 5,000 of you came by at some point. We usually had 300 to 400 of you in here at any moment. For as many trolls came by to like troll us, be like, haha, suckers. And like the joke's gonna be on them because their lives are gonna suck just as much as ours. So they can get their little endorphin release now, being like, yeah, screw you guys. But you're gonna be facing just as much of economic ruin as we are. There you go. It's just they get to have the little ignorance is bliss moment, while the rest of us who read books are like, fuck. It's just, well, Adam Watkins super chats. Hey, did I miss some GME talk? What's up with the bump last few days? The GME, I believe, is going into its November swap cycle. We saw the swap cycle hit pretty good in 2021, a little bit in 2022, not as much last year. But the 3-year swaps are now coming up, and I think we're getting into a good little swap cycle with GME at the moment. So we'll probably have a little bit of gamma on Monday, and that little bit of gamma can bolster us. And I'm just waiting for that Sunday night YOLO update from DFV. I think it's going to come at some point, especially if we're building up, and we seem to have a whole bunch of options in the chain ready to rock. Not next week, but the week after are our monthlies, and let's see. I've got my options for next week. I probably should have bought earlier in the day. The price went up 100% throughout the day. But I think we're going to get some gamma on Monday, and that hopefully will take us into a cycle. And if we're really lucky, DFV tweets his YOLO update and scares the algorithm, and then we get some real volatility action. If so, I'm doing the options retirement run again, and I just hope that Ryan Cohen doesn't dilute all over again and destroy it for everybody. But that's what I'm playing on. I'm hoping for. We'll see if it happens. Stephanie L, hey there. People make me sick. Dumb a-holes just effed around making us find out. How can we prep for bird flu arrival time? I have no idea when the arrival time will be. What we are seeing is a couple issues. One, we know that it's in poultry farms. So we know it's in poultry farms. We had to destroy a bunch of eggs. Isn't that inflation crisis we were having in 2022? A large reason why egg prices and meat prices were going up was that we were discovering bird flu in these farms and then wiping out entire flocks. So that eggs weren't being produced, chicken wasn't being produced, and then trying to restart again from there. So there was a shortage. Now, these dairy farms, these egg farms, they did jack up the prices artificially and capitalize on that. So that's where a lot of that inflation we saw came from. But now we're at the point that bird flu is so ubiquitous, we aren't even bothering anymore. We're like, it's everywhere, right? And it jumped from the poultry into cows. And so cows are now having it all over the country, and it's spreading from cows to farm workers who work closely with cows. The people that are milking them, people that are shoveling their shit, they're getting bird flu now. And what's interesting is that they aren't really talking about the outcomes that these people are having with the bird flu they're getting infected with. But in reality, a lot of them are dying, and they aren't, mum's the word. They aren't yet transferring human to human. So it seems to be, if you are intimate with these cows, I don't mean like intimate with these cows. I mean, you are in close proximity to them. You are around their milk, their drool, their farts, their poo, things like that, that you will get a contact transmission at some point from that. You know, you touch it, you smear it on your face, you wipe your nose, boom, they fart in your eyes, whatever. You can get bird flu that way. So it's not human to human. The problem is that on some of these mixed farms where you have multiple animals in the same farm, old McDonald style, is that the virus has moved from the cattle population into the pig population. And the pig population's immune systems are like a hybrid between birds and mammals, which causes sort of this hyper evolutionary response where it can easily evolve, get gains of function, and become something that can transmit human to human. And so a whole bunch of epidemiologists right now are pulling their hair out, looking at it now transmit from pig to pig to pig to pig on these farms, and now spreading to hog farms around the world and going everywhere. Because the more you incubate it, the more cycles of reproduction of that virus, which means the more mutations that happen, which means the more gain of function possibilities that happen. So soon, right? The minute we start seeing the first human to human transmission, it's over, and we won't have the apparatus in place to deal with it. We'll be lucky if there's a couple of local health departments, university professors who are keeping their eye on it, because if RFK is in charge of the CDC or National Institutes of Health or NHS, they aren't going to be, they're going to drop the ball on it. Again, like, they're accelerationists. They campaigned on destroying NOAA and the National Weather Service. What benefit does society have by destroying the National Weather Service? Like, we have a bunch of satellites. We spent billions of dollars building amazing satellites that look at things, water vapor, optical satellites, infrared satellites, so we can monitor storm systems around the world. We can monitor the jet stream. We can monitor, areas of high pressure and low pressure, and we can do storm trackers. And we've got these incredible computer models that are super accurate now. Like, the models that were showing Milton and Helene's path, the variation now is fractions of percent, where variations before could be as high as 60, 70%. They track the path spot on. But we're going to go back to 1926, when we had no idea a hurricane was barreling across the Atlantic and then wiped out Miami. 1920 Galveston, where 30,000 people were wiped out by a hurricane because they had no clue it was coming. Oh, it's really hot and sticky today. Whew! And the next day, a huge hurricane. That's as much warning as they had. So, we're going to get rid of the National Weather Service. So you have no clue that your little community in Oklahoma or Kansas has an F4 tornado on the way. No, we're not going to pay for Doppler radar anymore. It's too much money, right? We don't know if there's a polar vortex going to drop 12 feet of snow in our community. Like, what is the benefit? Like, being able to know where weather systems are hitting allows us to divert air traffic, allows us to divert resources, allows us to know, like, hey, maybe we should send a ship through that part of the Pacific full of several $1 billion worth of goods. We can go around it. But no, we're accelerationists. We're going to destroy everything. We're going to make sure everybody is as screwed as everyone else, except for the billionaires. They'll consolidate their wealth and have their Bitcoin and tea parties and a whole bunch of people to serve them who are desperate for crumbs that fall off the table. So, we'll be like China or Russia in that case. It'll be pretty spectacular. What a way to go! What a way to go! Attaining oneness and my effing puts on don't DJT garbage. Yeah, those didn't work out, did they? But hey, the calls didn't work out for people either. So there you go. It rocketed really high after hours, and it's at like $30 right now, which is lower than it was before the election. So nobody won on that one except for the options writers who wrote everybody the options. Ken Griffin won on that one. Alex Bishop super chats. I might send boxes of cat food to the MAGAs when they're hit by hurricanes or when they lose their Social Security with the message, concept of solidarity. The post service won't exist by then. They'll destroy that too. So, you may have to like bucket brigade it across the country to them. If I pass this off to you, can you give it to so-and-so? Yeah. Got DeJoy still in there. They should just arrested DeJoy for destruction of public property, and that would have been the way to get him out of the head of the Postal Service, and then appoint another one. But my beef with the Democrats is they never have any fucking nuts. They're always just so like, we're just going to try to work within the system and trust the system. No. You can't fight sociopathy with being a trusting person. You have to fight sociopathy with brute fucking force. You have to scare the sociopaths into even acting on it. That's the only thing they understand. And if you just go, oh, well, darn, I guess they got us good on that one. Maybe next time, you're never going to win the battle. Ever. You're just going to get pushed over like the pansy you are, absolutely bulldozed into submission, hoping that the next time, I'm going to write a really mean letter. And that's basically the opposition Democrats, is that they write really mean letters. I'm so angry right now, editor. And there you go. That's the whole of it. Meanwhile, the Republicans are creating an entire network of goon squads to take over this country in violently or through legislation. They don't care. Either way, they're fine with it, as long as it gets them to their goals. So, if you were a woman in this country, I would flee either to a blue state or out of the nation. The future does not look good for you. Rapes won't be investigated. Sex crimes will be rampant, and won't do any good to call the cops. Be like, hey, I've been violated. The cops be like, was it one of ours? Because it sounds like us. If you do get pregnant, you're not going to get any help whatsoever. Whether it's help at getting an abortion or just care from an OBGYN to begin with. Texas is becoming a dusty, tumbleweed-filled ghost town when it comes to prenatal care. The OBGYNs are leaving. They're going to states where they actually have the freedom to practice their profession. Not only that, but Texas can't even license OBGYNs anymore because they don't allow required care for you to get your license, because you can't perform abortions, you can't perform emergency care for women that are having miscarriages or stillbirths, things like that. Like, because you can't do that work, you can't get your hours in to get your license. So they're having to leave. They're leaving Texas, going to other states, spending weeks or months at a different residency there just so they can do that work to get licensed as an OBGYN, and so they can come back to Texas and still not be allowed to do that stuff. So they're just leaving. You look at Florida. Florida had the top public university system in 2021, and now it's not even ranked because they put that Chris Rufo dude in charge, and what's the one with the Trey Gowdy with the stupid hair? Those two guys in charge, and they've destroyed the university system to the point where Florida athletics are going to be suffering consequences. Which, if you're like a Gators or a Seminoles fan, if students aren't willing to come to your college on a football scholarship because they know the education is going to be like just absolute terrible garbage, your football teams are going to suffer, and that's the way of it. So that's our future. We're gonna make them all stupid, just dumb. That's what we got coming. So, yeah. I haven't even gotten to the normal part of the chat yet, and I got 15 minutes to go before I have to run away for the day. So, got through Low B and Purportedly Stupid and Would Not, and Where am I? Murph and Turf Studios, happy birthday, Houston. Doubled my money on calls I bought last Friday in the last minute. If the whole order had been filled instead of half, I could have paid my rent in one trade. Man. Well, restart. Do it again next week. That's the goal of the options run, right? Michael Steeks, Houston, did you hear about GOP in Florida? There was a raid on Alfie Oakes. He's a cajillionaire, big Republican donor, white supremacist. He's got seed to farm, farm to seed, seat to table, some big farm warehouse thing and like a restaurant. And he hosted Mike Flynn's election party on election night. 1,000 seat election party that, charged donors $1 gajillion to go to that. And the Department of Defense, the Secret Service, and the IRS did a giant raid on his business and on his home. And when he was leaving, he was leaving his business, farm to seed, or whatever it's called. He had a known Russian agent in his car. So that guy's pretty screwed. The interesting thing about that, I think, is that that raid was made, that he's connected to people like Mike Flynn and known Russian agents, right? And that they bothered to even do it. And it was Department of Defense that did it, which is very strange. Because with incoming Trump administration, you would assume that they wouldn't even bother with these things because they know that Trump will just grant blanket pardons, etc. So I think it's very interesting that they did that, and it's been really quiet in Trump land since those raids were made. Now, I don't think any arrests were made. I thought originally that there was an arrest, but I watched the news reports later, and it looks like Alfie Oakes is driving around in his Trump 2024 Range Rover still. When asked by reporters what's going on, he goes, "Trump 2024," and he drives away. So I don't know what to make of it. I have little concepts of hopium and conspiracy theory in my mind that perhaps the Biden administration and Kamala Harris were so like, congratulations on your win. I look forward to working with you and helping you through this transition. That they've been so amenable, and they haven't been calling for any recounts anywhere. Like in Arizona, Kari Lake got more votes than Kamala Harris and lost. That's some weird stats right there. That's some very weird stats. But maybe, Trump's a felon. He's a convicted felon, meaning he has no freedoms. He has no rights. Even without being sentenced, they can tap everything in his life. Phones, internet, devices, homes, cars, planes, all that stuff can be monitored because he is a convicted felon. And that if something's up, they know about it. And they have every recording you could possibly imagine, everyone on tape, all the direct messages, all the text messages, all the emails, all the conversations. And then perhaps, maybe, this is all hopium on my part, perhaps maybe Trump might not make it December 6th. That they're like, yeah, congratulations on your win. And then everyone gets wrapped up in a giant, Russian conspiracy. But again, that's all hopium. It is really, really weird, the response and from the agencies it came from on Alfie Oakes. Like why would the Secret Service be doing a raid? Unless it involves counterfeit money, right? But then you get the DOD team, which specializes in international computer hacking, going in there, and the IRS. So it's a very strange grouping of people who raid that group. We'll hear more about it at some point. But yeah, it's a weird one, that's for sure. Until then, I'm still in we're all doomed phase. I love the seed of hopium be in the back of my head, but yeah. Just made me all rise. Murphy Studios, are we hoping for a kitty tweet this Sunday? That would be magnificent to get a YOLO update on Sunday night. I look forward to it because you get a YOLO update on Sunday night, then my calls are all up like $1,000 each by Monday morning, and the options run is on like Donkey Kong. So yeah. Michael Steegs, Houston, any consequences for no labs by election from Trump? I mean, if RFK absolutely shreds the FDA, which we say that's like, I'm going to eliminate entire departments from the FDA, then yeah, there could be some real consequences. But I don't know if it'll be necessarily terrible consequences, but it might be difficult to get anything approved by the FDA, or if it is approved by the FDA, it doesn't mean anything at that point. Then you may have to go for like a European certification. Because generally, if you can get a device certified by the FDA here, it automatically gets you certification elsewhere. But if you ruin the FDA so much that a certification here doesn't mean anything and you have to go through that entire process again in Europe or Japan or elsewhere, then that can have some real world consequences for sure. Yeah. The best, as long as something goes before no labs, I'll be happy. Me too. I would love to just get 4 million shares from no lab and just sit on that waiting. Michael Steegs Houston saw that I can Logarin dividend your thoughts. I have not seen that. Logarin. I've not seen anything. Send me whatever you have so I can read that. Nothing's popping up immediately in my news here. I don't know. Send it to me. I will look at it and read it there, Michael. Snort alert. Oi, Houston. Oi, snort alert. Belgian whale sent in a green chat here. You've proven you can do 7 hours, no pussing out any more weight. Well, that's because I had the night free and I could do that. And man, my voice suffered the next day. I was a grumbly, like, phlegm monster the next day. Also, I was completely depressed and I don't think I slept for like 13 hours. Just dead to the world. I can do the longer ones, but man, that's going to be like a once in a blue moon type thing. So I've only got 7 minutes here. Then I got to run away. I was invited on a PP show tonight. I don't know if I'll get home in time to stop by there. I don't know. It's probably going to be a MAGA bro fest. I don't know if I even want to do that. Sorry, PP. No offense. But yeah. I'm going to hopefully do a normal length show on Monday. And hopefully we'll have some yippee, our options are doing great type thing going on. But... bruh. Yeah, so. Loby, sounds like we're doing bird flu in 2025. Cool, I'm sure it'll be handled well. Oh, with care and consideration. Exactly. It's going to be exactly like... First, they're going to just slash rates like crazy. I know Powell said he's not going anywhere. Even if Trump tries to fire him, he can't fire him. So he's like, I'm not going anywhere. But they're still going to cut rates and cut rates and cut rates and cut rates. And then something like bird flu will hit. Rates will be at 2%. And we'll go, shit. Because we won't have the mechanism we need to cut rates further to spur actual growth as the economy falls off the cliff. And it's going to be COVID 2.0, where they're going to cash inject trillions of dollars back into the economy. So they all get consolidated up by the billionaires again, but you'll get your like $800 a month and, walk the dog way too much as you stay home from work once more. Because bird flu is going to be a different animal than COVID. COVID was, we need to make sure we don't fill up the hospitals, right? Because a whole bunch of people are going to get infected. They're going to need pulmonary care for a long period of time. Hospitals are going to fill up. We're not going to be able to do anything else. And that's where a lot of deaths are going to happen, is because we're going to be able to take care of them. If bird flu gets in the human population, it becomes human-to-human transmission, you're looking at, deaths in the millions before we even have begun to consider what's going on. Because people are going to get it. They're going to get sick. They're going to give it to the families. Everyone's going to be too sick to even go to the hospital. And when someone in that household finally recovers, they're going to discover like mom and dad and their sister is dead, right? So like a family of 4, at least 1 or 2 of you are dying with bird flu once that gets in the human population. And if we're cutting back on research on vaccines, then it won't come from the US. It'll come from Germany, Sweden, Denmark, UK, Turkey, somewhere else is where it's going to come from. And if I were an American pharmaceutical company, I would be absolutely horrified that you're going to have to give leeway to international conglomerates. It's a national security thing, and I think its origins are entirely Kremlin based. The Kremlin wants you unvaccinated. The Kremlin wants you not obeying safety protocols. The Kremlin wants you eating raw meat, drinking raw milk, getting lead paint back in your lives, I don't know, licking asbestos, because it's asymmetrical warfare. They can't fire a shot at us, but if they can convince a large portion of the population to injure or kill ourselves unnecessarily, then they already have the first step towards a military victory underway. And their little troll farms are reveling in it. They pop up in my subreddit 1,000 times a day. And I gotta delete them and block them and delete them and block them. And they're in there just basically trying to convince as many Americans as possible to kill themselves through previously preventable deaths. But no, that's what we get, because our government doesn't have the stones to somehow block Russia from using the internet. If we could keep Russia off the internet, our lives would be so much measurably improved. Just build the wall around them. Cut every phone cable they have. Leave one line from Putin's office in the Kremlin to the White House. That should be the only communication method Russia has with the rest of the world at this point. Jika Shukla, Super Chats. How many GME options in the money now? Oh, I forgot to look at might as well get that total in there. GME options chain. Okay. What was GME Max Pain? Max Pain for today was Max Pain was $21. So, and we finished at almost 25, 24.5. We're set at 24.88. So we put, just this week, we put 9,000, whoops, sorry, that's open interest, yeah, 9,000, 10, 11, 21, 28, 30, almost 40,000 options of money. That's 4,000 shares in the money above Max Pain. That's pretty good. If we had closed at 25, holy crap, it would have been 8 million or almost 9 million. Oh wait, no, sorry, that's last week. Shit, where's today's? No, you already won't show me today's anymore. I want the 8th. I want the 8th. Show me what was with the 8th. Crap. Well, maybe I can options change. Someone will show me the 8th if I do bar chart. You show me today's? There we go. Here's today's. Okay. Oh wait, we had, all right, so GameStop. Near the money. Now I want a show all. Okay. So we had 21 was there, so we had 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 30. Oh crap. Yeah. We're at 40,000 plus. We're over 4 million shares in the money for Monday. That's a good pop. That's where we were on, what was it? May 10th. We put, no, it was the week before that. It was May 2nd, 3rd. We put 4 million in the money. The following week we put 8 million in the money. And that's what caused that giant week leading up into the 17th when RC and company diluted the 45 million shares on Friday and killed our options run. But we were going to MOS. We were going to push that thing probably above $60 heading into the close on that Friday, putting 60 to 100 million shares in the money. Same thing happened in June. June 7th, we were prepared, I think, to put 60 to 100 million shares in the money at 3 a.m. on June 7th when they diluted 75 million and the price went and the gamma just vanished. So we looks like we're starting those baby steps again with over 4 million shares in the money for Monday. That means next week when we look at these, not there, the other one. Oh, forward. This one here. Oh, you can't even see what I'm doing. Oh my gosh, I forgot to turn on the stupid picture. Bam. There we go. Okay, sorry. You guys are going to see what I talk and then I forget to do the image. So this is for next week. Next week, max pain for next week is $20. So we're already $5 over that with basically 4 to 9 million in the money if we touch 25. If we get an RC tweet in there, if he tweets out Sunday night a YOLO update, I bet this thing climbs to $35 by Monday morning or Monday afternoon, and that puts another 10, 30, yeah, another 35 to 37 million shares. Oh, sorry, 3.5 to 3.7 million shares in the money. So that could be 12, 13 million shares in the money by Friday next week, just on Monday alone if RC tweets. So, and the option chain only goes to $45. And when we've had these weeks, we've shot above $45 before. So, implied volatility is getting up there, so these things are starting to get a little pricey. Like last week, you probably could have bought this thing for 10 cents or something. Now it's at 29 because we had such a growth today. But yeah, it's coming. It's coming. I'm at 4:30. I gotta get running. Thank you so much for everybody for joining me. I will. Oh crap. Well, that could be my go away. I'm gonna turn off the After Dark intro. All right. Well, that's. Oh, and I forgot to make that thing go away. That was from election night. How do I make you go away? I do that one? Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, anyway, I'm going to try and do a Twitch stream. I haven't done Twitch stream in like so long. I'll try to do one this weekend if I can get around to it. I'm also going to try and do some office cleaning and finally ship off all these stupid packages I haven't had a chance to do because the car's working again and I can finally get to the post office and ship everything out to everybody. I need to do the drawing too. I forgot to do the drawing. Crap. So Monday, I'll do the drawing for our Charity Tuesday giveaways, our Charity Halloween giveaways, and I'll see you guys then. All right. Later, skaters. Have a great night. Intro already done. And how do I turn this thing off again? Click there. Right? You good, monkey?